Hola. 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 Apparently, you're not going to believe this. Mayor Bass is holding a press conference, and this is after she fired KRISTEN CROWLEY. And I thought it was pretty messed up, pretty despicable. And I think she's firing her because of the comments that she made previously about the fires and how they were let down. And she didn't like that. And I also think that Bass, she's getting a lot of criticism. And I also think there was that time where Bass sat down with Trump publicly and was almost kind of humiliated, to be honest with you. I think she was kind of humiliated. And so back then when this chief spoke out, we thought she got fired. Like there was a Daily Mail reporting that she got fired. It was really tense, whatever. And then it came out and said, no, she's not fired and everything's fine and whatever. Everything's gravy. And then look, now she's fired and let go. And that's after this other person, the other chief, was found murdered and stabbed. Wow. Crazy. I'm gonna play some of the clips from. It's not a lot, just some short clips. Fox was playing it. I don't know if I have notifications yet or not. Oh, the heck! Apparently I do. What the? Get in here. I just left you guys like 2 minutes ago. I literally walked. I ate like 2 of these chips, these supposed healthy chips, these pea chips, banana peas or something. And I got a call and boom, I'm here back again. Where's the thing at? There we go.
Have some sound right now that we can refresh your memory and play again. This is Gigi Graciette interviewing Chief Crowley.
What is your message to city administrators, starting with Mayor Bass?
My message is the fire department needs to be properly funded.
And it's not.
It's not at this point, and we've got the justification. We know.
That was the thing that ended this lady's career. That's effed up.
Where our gaps in service are. We know we need 62 new fire stations. We need to double the size of our firefighters. The growth of this city since 1960 has doubled, and we have less fire stations.
The mayor said it didn't affect your ability to respond. Did it affect LA City Fire's ability to respond, starting with the Palisade fire and then this domino effect of fires, including the Archer fire that we're seeing happen right now in Granada Hills?
Yeah, I think obviously any budget cut is going to impact our ability to provide service. That's at this point, that is a ground truth in regard to our ability. If there's a budget cut, we had to pull from somewhere else. What does that mean? That doesn't get done. There's delays.
What was going through your heart?
What's going through my heart is that our firefighters, the community's firefighters, LAFD firefighters need to be properly funded. We need to be supported so that they can do their jobs.
All right, that's January 10th.
Wow, yeah. And obviously they needed to show a united front because we were in the thick of it. The fire situation was still going on. The flames were still burning at that point, right? And so clearly the mayor having to make that decision to show a united front with the fire chief at that point. But now we're talking about more than a month after these fires have been put out, and this decision to remove KRISTEN CROWLEY effective immediately.
We'll work and see if we can get the sound from Alex Michelson's interview with Mayor Bass, where she answered some of his questions regarding all of this. In the meantime, we're also working to see if we can get Gigi Graciette on the phone to talk to her about that interview that you just saw parts of and just everything that's happened. Is a story she's been following very closely. Okay, perfect. Getting word that Gigi is now on the phone joining us. Gigi, hi. Good afternoon. Sorry to call you. I know you were probably on your way home, but you know, your reaction to the news that just came down.
Well, good afternoon, Araxia. Good afternoon, everyone. This was probably the worst kept secret at City Hall. Everyone knew that it was just a matter of time and finding a reason for Mayor Karen Bass to fire LA City Fire Chief KRISTEN CROWLEY.
Wow.
As you saw there, the chief spoke her truth on Fox 11 in a 16-minute live interview, and including that she felt the city had failed the Los Angeles City Fire Department, and in turn residents. And the fire chief spoke about warning for years, and she has a very long paper trail of documents presented to the Fire Commission and to the city of Los Angeles where she warned that the fire department's ability to respond to a major emergency in Los Angeles could be compromised because they are seriously understaffed. They don't even meet the staffing requirements set nationally for firefighters. And just this week before the Fire Commission, a LA City fire official told them that they are not able to respond to 911 emergencies in the suggested 4-minute timeline. I think less than half the time they're able to respond because they just don't have the man and woman power to do so. They don't have enough stations. They just don't have it. So not surprised. It was just a matter of timing. And I'm sure the chief was not surprised either.
You know, one of the things that stood out to me during that interview where you spoke to her, and for 16 minutes, it was just riveting. I remember sitting here in the studio watching this because you were getting all of this information, and she said, you know, finally she's able to speak on this, and you could tell almost like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders as she was talking. One thing she said was, as the city has grown, as the population has grown, as everything has grown, the department, rather than growing, has shrunk.
I know. How is that, even for those of us that aren't good at math? How can it be that we have less fire stations now than we had 10, 20, 30 years ago? It just doesn't make sense.
And Gigi, your thoughts on Mayor Bass? Alex interviewed her, asked her tough questions as to why she went to that trip to Ghana, and knowing that there was this big wind event coming up, and she says she wasn't informed, that she actually mentioned KRISTEN CROWLEY did not tell her the severity of the events coming up and the preparedness in place. Your thoughts on what the mayor had to say in that interview?
You know, it was a great interview by Alex Michelson, and just as a resident of Los Angeles, I grew up in Hollywood. This has been my city all my life. I was shocked when the mayor said that the fire chief hadn't called her personally to warn her, when we all knew, as Alex clearly said in that interview, we in the news media, every single station, had been talking about this for days. The National Weather Service, please keep in mind that the mayor of such a big city as Los Angeles has a very large staff, has advisors, has consultants, has assistants, has, administrative assistants. She's got a lot of people who advise her on the matters of the city, because it would be impossible for one person to know everything that's going on. So she's got an entire staff that I'm sure discussed this with her, and she chose to make a trip out of the country. And then in turn, in that interview with Alex Michelson, said that she didn't know that the fire chief had not called her. And I was just taken aback, and I thought, well, is that how they're supposed to do political business? Does the fire chief have to, pick up a telephone and call the mayor? The mayor doesn't get any other advisements about what's happening?
And it was very telling, though, that she named KRISTEN CROWLEY, as a matter of fact, in that interview, in just the one name that she said, putting the blame squarely on her. Gigi, thank you. Just a second here, because we want to go to...
Well, I just want to say, don't hang up.
Yeah.
Don't hang up. Just stay with us for one moment.
We're going to go and listen to that sound from Alex's interview with Mayor Bass.
What was the thought process behind going to Ghana?
So let me just tell you a couple of things. First of all, when the White House called and asked me if I would represent the president, I said yes. It was going to be a very, very short trip. over a weekend and 2 business days. We need to look at everything about the preparation and all of that for the fires, because I think when we evaluate that, we will find that although there were warnings that I frankly wasn't aware of, although there were warnings, I think our preparation wasn't what it typically is, meaning that before there's a major weather event, for example, last week when we knew we were going to get into the rains, you saw us come together and us talk about, get your sandbags, bring the K-rails out. That type of preparation didn't happen. If that had, I will tell you, Alex, I wouldn't have even gone to San Diego, let alone leave the country.
But what do you mean there were warnings you weren't aware of? Because I know we were talking about it on the news. A lot of people were talking about the problems, warning that this was going to be a huge deal.
So when I talked about it with the fire chief, what she said is that we have warnings of Santa Ana winds a lot, but predicting this, and you saw, from the city, from the county, that level of preparation really didn't happen. So it didn't reach that level to me to say something terrible could happen and maybe you shouldn't have gone on the trip.
Why didn't it
But to me, I don't know. I mean, I think that that's one of the things we need to look at. I will tell you that I felt absolutely terrible not being here for my city and not being here for my family, who was impacted by the fires as well. And so when I say it was a mistake, absolutely, the idea that I was not present was very painful.
So very telling in that interview, obviously blaming the chief for not giving her ample warning, for not being prepared in terms of the alert level to alert the mayor that this was going to be a severe weather event.
But Gigi, you bring up a good point, and I believe you're still here, that you were surprised to know that embarrassing almost that that's what it had come to. People using pool water, people using water bottles trying to put the fire out.
Here we go. If you guys could help me out with the like button, please. It really helps out with the algorithm. If you guys could just hit the like, that's all I ask for. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Acting in the best interest of Los Angeles public safety and for the operations of the Los Angeles Fire Department, I just met with Chief Crowley and removed her as fire chief. I have appointed a 41-year veteran of the fire department, former Chief Deputy Ronald Villanueva, as interim fire chief. He is respected and ready to hit the ground running. So let me be clear. Our firefighters acted heroically during the Palisades fire, and they act heroically every single day. That is without question. Bringing new leadership to the fire department is what they and the people of Los Angeles deserve. As you know, I have called for a full investigation of everything leading up to January 7th. A necessary step to the investigation was the president of the Fire Commission telling Chief Crowley to do an after-action report on the fires. The fire chief refused.
Wow.
We all know that 1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch.
Wow.
These actions required her removal. While the department is in the experienced and expert hands of Chief Villanueva, my office will lead a national search, and I will speak directly with firefighters and Angelenos about what they want to see in the next fire chief. I will use a similar process as I did in searching for our police chief. The business of the fire department and the city will continue. Our heroic firefighters are on the job in our firehouses, engines, trucks, and ambulances. The recovery of the Palisades is months ahead of expectations. Los Angeles is moving forward on all fronts, and we will keep moving forward together. I'd now like to introduce the Chief of the Los Angeles Fire Department, Ronnie Villanueva.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. I am humbled by your confidence in me. I've spent 41 years at the Los Angeles City Fire Department, working alongside the finest fire professionals in the world. Leading them is an honor of a lifetime. I pledge to the mayor, our firefighters, and to the people of Los Angeles is that the Los Angeles City Fire Department will be prepared. The Los Angeles City Fire Department will respond, and the Los Angeles City Fire Department will keep you safe. And to all the firefighters, I want you to know, the love that I have for this department is the reason I'm coming back in this capacity. I watched last month as you were in the fiercest firefight in Los Angeles history, bravely battling the fires for days on end. I am grateful to work alongside all of you once again. Thank you very much.
And before I open it up for questions, let me acknowledge the President of the City Council, Marquise Harris Dawson, Councilmember Curran Price, Councilmember Hugo Soto Martinez, Councilmember Adrienne Nazarian. Yes.
Well, I've got a question for you. You said that removing Chief Crowley is in the best interest of Los Angeles public safety. What specifically did she do to endanger public safety?
Well, as I mentioned, 1,000 firefighters who could have been on the job fighting the fires were sent home. The other thing that I mentioned is that I said after the fires were out, after the rain had stopped, that a full investigation would begin. One step of that investigation was to do an after-action report, of which she refused.
So we knew the 1,000 firefighters could have been called in the day after the fire. What changed?
What changed?
Because you said you weren't planning on firing her on January 11th.
Oh, well, let me just be clear. As I just said, while Los Angeles was on fire, after that we had rains. I was not going to do anything while we were in a state of emergency. Next.
Are we still in a state of emergency?
No, we are not in a state of emergency right now. Next question.
Mayor.
Yes.
The chief, I assume you met, I assume this is not a decision you made this morning. When did you meet with Chief Crowley, former Chief Crowley?
About an hour ago.
And how did the meeting go?
It was very brief.
And did she tell you anything about why she did what she did?
It was a very brief meeting, no.
And the investigation
Yes.
that she didn't participate in?
Yes.
How did she not participate? Exactly.
Well, what I said is that the president of the Fire Commission told her to do a after-action report. She refused to do the report.
Did she give a reason for refusing?
Next.
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. Did the former chief ever talk about, what plan was in place, where she had positioned the firefighters? Is that becoming clear to you?
No, it is not. Next question. Yes.
Is the city required to do after-action report under Title 19?
Yes, it is required. I don't know about the title that you just mentioned, but yes, it is.
Do you understand that the LA County Fire Department is doing?
I do not know that.
Okay.
Yes?
You have said that Chief Crowley did not call in from your office ahead of time as they have done with previous fires. I'm wondering, what's the person they called before previous fires? Do you think the mayor of public safety, Brian Williams, who's on leave?
What I can tell you is that what has happened in the 2+ years I've been here, every time there was a weather emergency or even a hint of a weather emergency, the chief has called me directly. She has my cell phone. She knows she can call me 24/7. And she briefed me, and then we would talk about what needed to happen next. That did not happen this time. Yes.
You had no idea
Yes.
before you went to Ghana?
Excuse me? Yes.
When exactly was it that you asked her, that she was asked to do the after-action report, and what was her justification?
I don't know her justification. She was asked this week. I learned about this yesterday.
She was asked this week?
Yeah, it was this week. Yes.
Are you
Yes.
saying you hadn't seen any of the forecasts before you went to Ghana?
Yes.
What was the reasoning for not having the 1,000 firefighters?
I don't know. I don't know what the reason was.
I have a hard time believing that.
Yes.
Any of the forecasts before you went to Ghana?
No.
No, you didn't?
Yes.
When did you first speak to her on the 7th or 8th? When did you connect with her?
I spoke to her the evening of the 7th.
Evening of the 7th?
Yes,
Not a timer?
exactly, which was the morning here. So it was after the fires started. But let me just be clear. Los Angeles needs to move forward. This is a new day. I am excited to welcome our new chief, who was a 41-year veteran of this fire department. He is well known. He is well liked. He knows most of the members of the city council, except for our 2 members that were recently elected, and it is our plan to continue moving forward. We want to have the full investigation that the governor has ordered and the investigation that we will do locally. Yes?
Thank you again. I wanted to back it up a little bit because I think you actually spoke with the chief, because I heard it live on KNX News at 12:47 p.m. local time. You're in West Africa, the chief is here, and you're on KNX News talking about the fire disaster, and you're praising Chief Crowley for pre-positioning units that were necessary in vulnerable places. You're also praising her leadership, and you said something to the fact that LAFD is always at the ready.
And needless to say, I did not know all the facts, but I had spoken to her maybe a couple of hours before that. Yes?
And, 2 quick questions. In terms of investigations, and since we're looking at the fire, has there been calls for the firing of PWB's chief over the issue of the reservoirs leading up in that area? Are you looking into that? Is that a possibility?
There will be an investigation of the water situation as well, and that will be done by the governor.
The same thing with the issue of fire hydrants?
Yes. All of that is being examined at the governor's initiation, and we might do something locally as well.
And to those who might say that your step now, as explained as it is, it's also a reaction to her criticism to your office about the budget and what it's done.
Let me just be clear about the budget. The fire department was not cut. I have done 2 budgets in my time here. In both budgets, the budget was increased, and I will anticipate that it will be increased this time as well.
I see you 4 members of
I saw budgets were cut.
I'm sorry?
I see 4 members of city council behind you. Do you expect that other members of city council will fight the ouster? I believe Monica Rodriguez is planning to fight it. Do you think that you have enough support on the council to avoid getting that kind of vote over?
I believe that there is a lot of support on the city council. Yes?
Does this add to the sense of upheaval that has been going on for the last 5 weeks? You've had tensions with Timothy Horvath, you've had back and forth over Steve Soberoff's pay. Now is a new, potentially destabilizing event. Is the city in upheaval? Is your office?
The city is not in upheaval. I am very happy that the rebuilding, the restoration, the clearing of the fire, of the debris is moved forward way ahead of time. We have just experienced the worst natural disaster that our city has ever experienced. It would be wonderful to think that everything would be smooth every step of the way, but I don't believe that that is realistic. I think we are standing together. I think we're standing strong, as evidenced by the leadership of the city council being here with me, with members of the city council, and there's many more that are not here. We have worked very well together. Now, are there differences along the way? Of course they are. Yes.
Your comments about not getting a phone call from Crowley, I think that for some people, they see you as the top of the food chain. You're in charge. You're supposed to be the one getting the information from people, and you're not supposed to blame others. You're supposed to be responsible.
Let me just say that yes, as the mayor of the city, the buck stops with me. I am in charge. However, the person in charge of the fire department, as I mentioned before, whenever there was a fire emergency, a weather emergency, or a hint of a problem, I am contacted directly, and not just by Chief Crowley, but by any of the heads of the departments. As you know, we have over 40 departments. I'll take a couple more. Yes.
My understanding is that the city council has put into motion its own after-action report. Was Chief Crowley participating with that investigation?
I do not know that.
Do you only get your information from your aides and chiefs and things like that, or do you watch other outside news sources?
Oh, I watch news all the time. Yes. I'm sorry? What did you say?
Any sense of where the fire unit stands on this decision?
I do not know. Okay, one final question from you. You've not asked a question.
Also, any plans for the department when you come in? ¿Y en español no sé si lo
Sí lo hablo. I just plan on moving forward. I want to move the department forward and take care of our firefighters. So I don't want to look backwards. I don't want to look to the past like the mayor stated. I just want to look for the future. En español, quiero nomás que
a lot of people can't just move forward. They got to deal with this mess. Somebody in the chat was saying that it seems like a budget cut, but it's a budget, I don't know, reduction from last year, but it's not really cutting, maybe.
Thank you very much.
So let me just show you this, because I mean, I've covered this stuff already before, but they had this document here that this was on December 17, 2024, and it says LFAD is facing unprecedented operational challenges due to the elimination of critical civilian positions and a $7 million reduction in overtime variable staffing hours. The budgetary reductions have adversely affected the department's ability to maintain core operations such as technology and communication infrastructure, payroll, processing, training, fire prevention, and community education. In addition to these impacts, the reduction of V hours has severely limited the department's capacity to prepare for, train for, and respond to large-scale emergencies, including wildfires, earthquakes, hazardous material incidents, and large public events. Specialized programs and resources such as air operations, tactical EMS units, disaster response, and community emergency response teams, CERT, which rely heavily on V hours. That was one thing that I saw. And then there was another one here, and this was a while back. This January 6, 2025. This Operations Valley Bureau budget, where the LFAD is still going through FY fiscal year, maybe 2024, 2025, 48.8 million budget reduction exercise with the CAO, the Fire Chief Board of Fire Commission, CAO, UFLACA. A steadfast in their defending resources we currently have in place. The only way to provide a cost savings would be to close as many as 16 fire stations. Holy crap. Not resources, fire stations. This equates to at least one fire station per city council district. The details of this plan have not been developed. In the worst case scenario, this is not happening yet. The fire chief will have to have a chat with the chief, and so on and so forth. It looks like it's almost looking like to me like Crowley might be the fall person. It's going to be the person to take all the heat. Menendez Brothers, you guys want to watch it? I see only one person talking about it. Is there a link? We can move over there next. Let me just play this quick little video to kind of some of the clips that, for those that missed it. I think the reason she's being dumped is because she spoke out. And the mayor didn't want to do it at that moment in time. But a lot of people, like the reporter said, they all knew this was coming.
Period.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job. And I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
There you go. Go. Maybe I think because Karen Bass was there last night. And it's just fast forward to we don't need the commentary. I already posted this, but just some more of the interview. So she was trying to dance a little bit around it.
To stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job. And I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Chief KRISTEN CROWLEY, I believe the anchors wanted to ask a question.
Yes,
had some comments.
Damn, bro, she's gone. Adrian says she's fired up. I wouldn't want that to happen to her, but we talked about that back then, and then they were like, "No, this isn't true," and whatever. And look where we're at now. I think she felt pressured, even though there's politics involved and all that. But like, she can't stand there and be like, "No, they didn't fail her," you know. And with everything that's coming out, you know, that reservoir that was empty, bro.
Wow.
we do, Gigi, if you could please ask her regarding the Times article that came out that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was closed to repairs and it was empty. 117 million gallons of water could have been used in this fight.
The question is about the Santa Ynez Reservoir being empty. There's been a lot of questions about that.
Sure. So my stance on this is when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Right. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped. That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants. Please defer that to DWP or...
That's why she got fired. That's why she got fired.
Whomever controls that part. But I can tell you the resiliency of our firefighters, if there's no water.
Because she was in line with Mayor Bass the whole time, but I could tell like she was holding back. And then I don't know what made her speak up. Maybe she knew they were going to throw her down under the bus anyway.
They're going to go find water. They're going to figure out a way to do the best they can with what they've got in a very dynamic situation.
And I know you expressed concerns that those DWP hydrants would not be inspected thoroughly because of the budget cuts.
That is something to discuss, and we're going to look into that in regard to how we can ensure there's going to be water when we need it. But in the end, I'm going to defer that to DWP and whomever else controls the supply. I can guarantee you that when our firefighters showed up on that day with what they had, they did absolutely everything they could do to rescue and to save people's lives and property. And that's the bottom line. Now let's get them what they need to do their jobs.
Let's get them water, Chief, because I was with your firefighters and they literally were watching a house burn down with pain in their eyes, not being able to do anything except pull water from a swimming pool to try to save a nearby structure that wasn't burning, and literally watching a house burn to the ground because they had no water.
That's exactly right. But did they continue to work, and did they continue to do what they had to do the best they could with what they had? Yes.
Chief, follow-up. Thank you very much for talking to us. We appreciate it. I believe we have a follow-up question from the studio.
Question on that reservoir issue. Is the fire department aware of when these resources are depleted, just like that reservoir had no water? Was she aware of that fact, that it was under construction and there was no water there?
Sandra Endo, one of our anchors, wants to know if the department is advised that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was going to be emptied. Were you aware that there was no water there?
No, we weren't aware of that.
They don't have to advise you?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So you had no idea that there wasn't such needed resource?
No, we weren't.
Wow. Chief KRISTEN CROWLEY, again, Chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department. Thank you for talking to us. I know it's been a very exhaustive, emotional, and I imagine you're mad, and I imagine you're sad. You may not want to talk about that anger or that disappointment, but I can see it in your eyes. Thank you. Thank you for talking to us.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
I think I said she was almost teary. So yeah, I really believe that's the reason they got rid of her. And the mayor, I don't think she wants to take any accountability for anything, for nothing really. And so this is the person that's going to take the brunt of the fall. Now, if they prove that whole thing about the firefighters that she was talking about, okay, all right, then I don't know, maybe she has a case there. But I just have a hard time believing that this lady said, no, I'm not going to do the investigation, the report, and no, what else? I forgot what else it was. All right. I think I have somewhat of enough of a thumbnail. So the Menendez brothers, I think the DA is having some type of press conference. A couple people tagged me in it. It started like 2-3 minutes ago or something, or maybe 5 minutes ago. I have a thumbnail and title ready to go. So we're going to jump and just check out what the presser is. I'm kind of like to the point of like with the Menendez, stop talking about it. Like, you're either going to let them go or you're not, or whatever's going to happen with these guys. The Menendez brothers. Spoiled brats or victims of abuse. Or both. Maybe it's both. I don't know. Two things could be true too, right? Spend all their mama and daddy's money. Go on a shopping spree. Blast. Who they blast more? The father or the mother? I forgot who got blasted more. Blasted the mom and the dad, left them lying there bleeding to death, and had Cheetos on the couch watching TV. Going through the bank accounts. All right, let's see. Menendez brothers. They are live. Okay, here we go. Are they in California too, man? California's doing too much. We got too many Cali stores. Okay. So I'm going to transfer you guys right now for those that want to watch the Menendez brothers.